The Scent of Eternity. Chapter 1. Arrival at the Taj Mahal. Anjali stood at the threshold of the Taj Mahal, her heart beating with a reverence that words could scarcely capture. The sun cast its golden hue upon the pristine marble, making the monument shimmer like a jewel, albeit a quiet, solitary jewel. She inhaled deeply, the scent of jasmine and sandalwood mingling with the cool morning air. Each step felt like a journey through time, the stones beneath her feet whispering secrets of an era she had researched for years. Anjali, can you believe it? Kamal's voice broke through her reverie, tinged with the excitement she felt. He stood beside her, eyes wide with awe, two cameras slung carelessly around his neck. We're back, and this time with an assignment. Yes, Kamal, Anjali replied, her voice soft yet filled with passion. The Taj Mahal. It's so magnificent. I wish more people would visit and revive the soul of this landmark. The two colleagues, both historians with a passion for anthropology and the Mughal era, had dreamed of this visit. Their published articles revealing the need for complete restoration and the need for an active community had gone viral. This visit could be a start in the right direction. Anjali's heart swelled with pride and anticipation, knowing they had been chosen to restore a newly discovered hidden chamber within this epitome of architectural skill. They walked through the grand entrance, the imposing Darwaza-e-Rauza, adorned with intricate calligraphy and floral motifs. The path ahead was lined with lush gardens, fountains that once sprayed delicate arcs of water, and trees swaying gently in the breeze. It was as if the essence of paradise had descended to earth, captured within the boundaries of this splendid mausoleum with its solemn feelings. Kamal, look at the symmetry, Anjali said, pointing to the perfect alignment of the pathways, water channels, and the Taj Mahal itself. It's like the universe converges here. Kamal nodded, his expression thoughtful. It said that Shah Jahan intended this to be a reflection of paradise, a testament to his love for Mumtaz Mahal. Anjali's thoughts drifted to Mumtaz Mahal, the beloved wife of the emperor, whose beauty and grace had inspired the creation of this eternal monument. She wondered about the life Mumtaz had led, the joys and sorrows she had experienced within these walls. As they approached the main dome, the soft murmur of prayers from a distant mosque added a layer of mystique to the already enchanting atmosphere. Do you think the hidden chamber will reveal new secrets about Mumtaz? Kamal asked, his curiosity mirroring her own. I hope so, Anjali replied. Every stone here has a story to tell, and I'm eager to uncover them. They were greeted by the chief archaeologist, Professor Rao, a man whose weathered face bore the marks of countless expeditions. His eyes sparkled with the enthusiasm of a much younger man. Anjali, Kamal, welcome, Professor Rao said warmly. The chamber in question awaits your expert hands. Anjali felt a thrill course through her veins as they followed Professor Rao through a narrow passageway leading to the hidden chamber. The air grew cooler and the walls closed in around them, creating a sense of intimacy with the past. The flickering torchlight cast dancing shadows, giving the corridor an almost otherworldly feel. Here we are, Professor Rao announced, stopping before an ornately carved wooden door. This chamber has been sealed for centuries. What lies beyond this door is a mystery waiting to be studied by experts such as yourselves. Anjali's fingers traced the intricate patterns on the door, feeling the craftsmanship that had withstood the test of time. She could sense the history embedded in the wood, each groove and indentation a silent witness to the ages. Are you ready, Anjali? Kamal asked, his voice a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Anjali nodded, her heart pounding with anticipation. I've been ready my whole career for a moment like this. With a creak, the door swung open, revealing the chamber bathed in a soft, ethereal light. The air inside was heavy with the scent of old wood and forgotten memories. Anjali stepped forward, her eyes wide with wonder. The walls were adorned with delicate frescoes depicting scenes from the Mughal court, their colors vibrant despite the passage of time. This is incredible, Kamal whispered, his voice barely audible. Anjali could only nod, her senses overwhelmed by the beauty and history that surrounded her. She felt a profound connection to the past, as if Mumtaz Mahal herself were guiding her through the labyrinth of time. Each step she took resonated with purpose, each breath a promise to honor the legacy of those who had come before her. As Anjali and Kamal began their work, Their knowledge of Persian, Hindi, and Urdu languages helped the ancient marking and text come alive, its stories unfolding before their eyes. This hidden chamber of the Taj Mahal, long shrouded in mystery, was beginning to reveal its secrets. And Anjali, with her possible familial connection to Mughal history, was ready to uncover them all. Chapter 2. The Hidden Chamber. Anjali knelt on the cool marble floor of the hidden chamber, her fingers tracing the delicate frescoes that adorned the walls. Each brush stroke told a story, each color vibrant despite the centuries that had passed. She felt a profound connection to the artists who had painstakingly created these masterpieces, their passion and dedication evident in every detail. "Kamal, look at this," she called softly, her voice echoing in the hushed silence of the chamber. "These scenes, they depict life at the Mughal court. The detail is extraordinary." Kamal, crouched nearby with a notebook and camera, glanced up and moved closer. "Incredible," he murmured, his eyes wide with wonder. "It's like stepping back in time." Anjali's heart swelled with pride and excitement. This was the moment she had dreamed of, the chance to uncover the secrets of one of history's most fascinating periods. The Mughal Empire, known for its opulence and grandeur, had reached its zenith under the reign of Shah Jahan. His beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal, was the inspiration behind the Taj Mahal, a testament to their eternal love. "Mumtaz Mahal," Anjali whispered, her fingers brushing against an image of the empress. She was more than just Shah Jahan's wife. She was his confidant, his muse. Her beauty and grace were legendary, but so was her wisdom and kindness. Kamal nodded, his expression thoughtful. She must have been remarkable to inspire something as magnificent as the Taj Mahal. As they continued to explore, Anjali's gaze was drawn to a small, ornately carved niche in the wall. Something about it seemed out of place, as if it were hiding a secret. Her curiosity piqued. She reached out and gently pressed her hand against the carving. To her astonishment, the niche shifted, revealing a hidden compartment. Anjali's breath caught in her throat as she peered inside. There, nestled within the stone, was a small, intricately decorated vial. Its glass shimmered in the dim light, and she could see a faint amber-colored liquid inside. "Kamal, come here," she called, her voice trembling with excitement. "Look at this." Kamal hurried over, his eyes widening as he saw the vial. "What do you think it is?" he asked, his voice hushed as he recorded their find with his camera. Anjali carefully lifted the vial from its hiding place, cradling it in her hands as if it were a precious jewel. "It's a perfume," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It must be centuries old." Kamal's eyes sparkled with intrigue. "Do you think it could be—" "Yes," Anjali interrupted, her heart pounding with anticipation. "It could be the perfume worn by Mumtaz Mahal herself." The air around them seemed to grow heavy with anticipation as Anjali slowly, reverently removed the stopper from the vial. A delicate, intoxicating fragrance filled the chamber, enveloping them in a scent that was at once floral and spicy. Familiar yet utterly exotic. It was as if the very essence of the Taj Mahal by moonlight had been captured within the vial. Anjali closed her eyes, breathing deeply, allowing the scent to transport her to another time, another place. She could almost hear the soft rustle of silk, the murmur of voices, the distant strains of a sitar. The fragrance seemed to weave a tapestry of memories and emotions, each thread a glimpse into the past. "Kamal," she whispered, her voice filled with awe, "this scent, it's like a portal to another world." Kamal, equally entranced, nodded slowly. "It's magical." As the fragrance swirled around them, Anjali felt a strange sensation, as if the boundaries between past and present were blurring. She opened her eyes and found herself staring into the eyes of a woman from another time, her face serene, her eyes filled with a wisdom and sorrow that transcended the ages. "Mumtaz Mahal," Anjali whispered, her heart racing. The vision faded as quickly as it had appeared, leaving her breathless and filled with a sense of profound wonder. Kamal placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Anjali, are you all right?" She nodded, her mind still reeling from the experience. "Yes, Kamal, I think we've just discovered something extraordinary. This perfume, it's more than just a scent, It's a connection to the past, to Mumtaz Mahal herself. We need to find out more about this. Together they studied the wall etchings, surrounded by the lingering fragrance, determined to uncover the secrets of the vial. Chapter 3. The Transformation. Anjali's head spun as the fragrance from the vial enveloped her, wrapping her in a cloud of vivid memories and unfamiliar sensations. The air thickened, becoming almost tangible, as the wisps of fragrance and mist swirled around her, enveloping her in a cocoon of jasmine and rose. She felt an irresistible force tugging at her very essence, pulling her through the very fabric of time itself. Suddenly, the world steadied, and Anjali found herself standing in a grand courtyard, bathed in the splendor of the Mughal court. The intoxicating scent of roses and jasmine mingled with the crisp morning air, filling her senses. She glanced down at her hands, now adorned with intricate henna patterns, their delicate lines telling tales of love and tradition. Her clothes had transformed into a stunning sari of rich silk, resplendent with gold embroidery that glinted in the soft sunlight. "Anjali?" a soft, melodious voice called out. She turned to see a woman of extraordinary beauty approaching her. Mumtaz Mahal, the empress herself, moved with a grace that seemed almost otherworldly. Her presence commanded both respect and admiration, her eyes reflecting a depth of wisdom and kindness. "Mumtaz Mahal," Anjali whispered, her heart pounding in her chest. She realized she was not herself. She had transformed into Anjali, handmaiden to the empress herself. Anjali was free to live in this moment as if it were her own. "Are you well?" Mumtaz asked, concern etching her delicate features. "You seem lost in thought." "Yes, Your Majesty," Anjali replied, her voice trembling slightly. "I am just overwhelmed by the beauty of this architecture and the gardens." Mumtaz smiled, a radiant expression that lit up her face. "The gardens are my sanctuary. Shah Jahan had them designed for me, a place of peace and reflection amidst the demands of the court." Anjali nodded, absorbing every detail, the lush greenery, the meticulously arranged flowers, the gentle murmur of fountains. It was a paradise, a testament to the love and devotion Shah Jahan held for his beloved wife. "Come, walk with me," Mumtaz said, gesturing towards a shaded path lined with blooming roses. Anjali followed, her heart swelling with admiration for the empress. Mumtaz moved gracefully, her sari flowing like water, her every step a dance. As they walked, Mumtaz spoke freely, her voice a soothing melody. "Being the empress is both a blessing and a burden," she confided. "There are days when the weight of the crown feels almost unbearable, but it is the love of my family and the beauty of this place that sustain me." Anjali listened intently, feeling a deep connection to the empress. She could sense the strength and vulnerability beneath Mumtaz's regal exterior, a woman who bore the weight of an empire with grace and dignity. "Your Majesty," Anjali ventured, "how do you find the strength to carry on?" Mumtaz paused, her eyes distant as she considered the question. "It is love, my dear, love for my husband, for my children, for this land. Love gives me strength when all else fails. It is the most powerful force in the world." Anjali felt a lump rise in her throat, moved by the empress's words. She realized that this experience, this moment in time, was a gift, a chance to understand the heart of one of history's most revered figures. As they continued their walk, Anjali noticed a tension in the air, a sense of unease that belied the peaceful surroundings. She sensed it in the furtive glances of the courtiers, the hushed whispers that followed their passage. "Is something troubling you, Your Majesty?" she asked gently. Mumtaz sighed, her expression clouded. "There are always those who seek to disrupt the peace, to undermine the harmony we have built, but we must remain vigilant and trust that love will prevail." Anjali nodded, understanding the underlying tension that pervaded the court. She vowed to protect this moment, to honor the legacy of Mumtaz Mahal by living each day with the same grace and strength. As they returned to the main courtyard, Anjali felt a strange sensation, as if the threads of time were pulling her back. She looked into Mumtaz's eyes, the empress's serene gaze imprinted on her heart. "Thank you, Your Majesty," Anjali whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "Your presence always renews my heart." Mumtaz smiled, a knowing glint in her eyes. "Certainly, my dear. May love guide you and be your strength." With those words, the world around Anjali began to blur once more. The scent of roses and jasmine faded, replaced by the cool, familiar air of the hidden chamber. She blinked, disoriented, as the modern world rushed back to her. Kamal was by her side, his expression one of concern and curiosity. "Anjali, are you all right? You seemed lost for a moment." Anjali nodded, her heart still pounding with the intensity of the experience. "I'm fine, Kamal. I just had the most incredible vision." As she recounted her encounter with Mumtaz Mahal, Anjali felt a profound sense of purpose. She knew that the journey ahead would be filled with challenges, but she was ready to face them, guided by the wisdom and love of an empress who transcended time. Chapter 4, Chutney Spill, Shadows in the Garden. Anjali, handmaiden to the Empress, walked through the lush gardens of the Taj Mahal, her senses heightened by the rich tapestry of scents blending with the soft murmurs of courtiers and the distant notes of a sitar. In her dual existence as Anjali and as the handmaiden, she had begun to notice subtle signs of discord. The whispers of the courtiers seemed more urgent, their glances more furtive. She felt the undercurrent of tension that permeated the court, a shadow lurking beneath the veneer of harmony. Hidden from Anjali's view as she walked, two conspirators were plotting against Shah Jahan. One man was short and unkempt, while the other man was tall and well-dressed. Moving into a darkened corner, the taller man asked his companion, "The woman called Anjali is very inquisitive, always asking questions. She might know of our plot." The shorter man nodded in agreement and remarked, "Yes, and I ask you, why is Anjali allowed to serve our empress? Isn't she a foreigner?" The taller man adjusted his tunic and spoke with determination. "Anjali acts superior to us, and I hate foreigners. She needs to be neutralized." Thoughtfully smoothing his beard, he continued, "I have a plan." A short time later, while accompanying Mumtaz Mahal through the gardens, Anjali felt a prickling at the back of her neck. She glanced around, her eyes scanning the shadows cast by the tall cypress trees. The Empress walked ahead, her sari shimmering like liquid gold in the sunlight, her presence radiant and serene. "Your Majesty," Anjali ventured, her voice low, "have you noticed anything unusual lately?" Mumtaz turned, her eyes reflecting both curiosity and concern. "What do you mean, Anjali?" "There are whispers, Your Majesty," Anjali continued, choosing her words carefully. "Whispers of unrest, of danger. I fear there may be those who wish to harm you." Mumtaz's expression softened, and she placed a gentle hand on Anjali's shoulder. "I appreciate your concern, my dear. There are always those who seek to disrupt the peace, but we must not let fear rule us." Anjali nodded, but her unease did not dissipate. She felt a growing urgency to uncover the truth, to protect the Empress she had come to admire so deeply. That evening, as the moon cast its silver glow over the Taj Mahal, Anjali decided to investigate further. She moved quietly through the corridors, making every attempt move silently on the cool marble. She followed the hushed voices, leading her to a secluded corner of the palace. Hidden behind a lattice screen, Anjali overheard a conversation that sent chills down her spine. "The Empress must be eliminated," a voice hissed. "Only then can we destabilize Shah Jahan's reign." "We must act quickly," another voice agreed. "The poison is ready to be added to the Empress's food. It'll be in the chutney sauce at tomorrow's feast." Anjali's heart pounded in her chest. She had to warn Mumtaz, but she had to be careful. The conspirators had a dangerous plan, and their influence might be extensive. She slipped away, her mind racing with the implications of what she had heard so clearly. Poisoned chutney sauce will be served to Mumtaz Mahal. The next morning, Anjali found Mumtaz in her private chambers, preparing for the day's festivities. A warm smile, and Anjali set to delivering her message. "Your Majesty," Anjali began, her voice trembling with urgency, "there is a plot against your life. 2 conspirators plan to poison you at the feast tonight." Mumtaz's expression hardened, her eyes narrowing with determination. "Are you certain, Anjali?" "Yes, Your Majesty, I overheard them hatching their plan. We must act quickly." Mumtaz nodded, her mind already working through the possibilities. We must not alert them to our knowledge. We will attend the feast as planned, but we will take precautions." Anjali marveled at the Empress's composure, her strength and grace in the face of danger. She felt her admiration deepen, her resolve to protect Mumtaz strengthening. As the day passed, Anjali and Mumtaz prepared for the feast, their every move calculated to ensure their safety. Anjali watched the Empress closely, noting the way she carried herself with an air of unshakable resolve. The feast began, the grand hall filled with the scent of exotic spices and the sound of laughter and music. Anjali's eyes darted around the room, searching for any sign of the conspirators. She spotted two men circulating near the head of the table, their eyes fixed on Mumtaz with a predatory intensity. Mumtaz, ever the gracious hostess, moved through the room with ease, her every gesture a testament to her grace and poise. Anjali stayed close, her senses on high alert, ready to act at a moment's notice. As the meal was being served, Anjali noticed a short man cross the dining hall carrying a dish of chutney and handing it off to a server. Behaving like a conspirator, he stepped into the shadows and watched the server approach Mumtaz. The server spoke, "Your Majesty, please enjoy this chutney with your meal. I was told it's your favorite." Anjali glanced back to the short man, and her heart raced as she saw the glint of malice of his eyes. Anjali charged forward, intercepted the dish of chutney and shouted, "No, stop!" and jerked the dish away from the server. "Allow me, Your Majesty," Anjali said, her voice steady, ignoring the chutney dripping down her arm, her eyes meeting the conspirators with a look of defiance. Anjali opened her mouth and called, "Guards! Guards!" At that exact moment, a tall, well-dressed man stepped forward. "This handmaid, Anjali, has gone crazy with hunger." Taking Anjali's arm, he lifted her hand and the dish for everyone to see and shouted, "She steals food from our most beautiful and most loving Empress. Shame on you." The other guests were aghast and nearly in a panic. Some guests demanded, "Who is this woman?" Anjali shouted, "The chutney has been poisoned. I saved Mumtaz Mahal's life." The shorter conspirator moved forward and shouted, "This woman is a foreigner and cannot be trusted." "No, that's not true," defended Anjali, holding the dish in question. "There is a plot to poison Mumtaz Mahal, and this is poison." Adjusting his tunic once more, the conspirator shouted, "Let's see if this woman speaks truth. The emperor's physician right here. He can test the food for poison." The room erupted in chaos as the physician took the overflowing dish from Anjali's and examined the contents. Mumtaz had seen enough, and she nodded to her guards who rushed to her side. Without delay, Mumtaz was safely escorted out of the banquet hall to safety. Chapter 5. The Dilemma. Back to her modern life and researching time travel, Anjali reflected on the disaster at the feast. The food contained no poison, and Anjali was shunned by all courtiers and labeled a foreigner. Her view from the window was calming. Moonlight bathed the landscape in a silvery glow, casting long shadows and illuminating the intricate ancient marble carvings. Pacing the floor, Anjali pondered the weight of what she had discovered, the knowledge of a plot to assassinate Mumtaz Mahal. Her mind raced with conflicting thoughts. She knew that intervening could alter the course of history, but the thought of allowing such a pure and graceful soul to be snuffed out filled her with dread. She could still feel the warmth of Mumtaz's hand on her shoulder, hear the gentle cadence of her voice. A firm knock at the door was followed by, "Anjali, Anjali, are you here?" It was Kamal, his voice one of concern. He had noticed her recent erratic behavior and had come to confront her. "Kamal, come in," Anjali said, her voice barely above a whisper. She turned to face him, her eyes reflecting the turmoil within. Kamal entered the room, closing the door behind him. "Anjali, what's going on? You've been acting strange ever since we started this project. You're hiding something." Anjali took a deep breath, her heart pounding. She had to tell him the truth despite the risk of sounding insane. "Kamal, you won't believe this, but I've been experiencing something extraordinary." "Okay, I'm here. Can you tell me about it?" Kamal asked. "I've been transported back in time, way back to the Mughal era, back to this very building, the Taj Mahal. I'm living the life of one of Mumtaz Mahal's handmaidens." Kamal's eyes widened in disbelief. "Wow, but Anjali, that's impossible. Perhaps you are under a lot of stress and having hallucinations?" "No, Kamal, it's real," Anjali insisted, her voice trembling with emotion. I've seen Mumtaz Mahal. I've spoken with her. I've witnessed the beauty and grace of her world. Kamal listened and took Anjali's hand, showing his support. Amazing. Did you really speak with the Empress? There's more, Anjali continued. I've discovered a plot to kill her. Kamal's skepticism was evident, but he saw the earnest desperation in Anjali's eyes. All right, let's say I believe you. What are you going to do about it? You can't just change the past. This historical site could be erased and no more Taj Mahal. That's what I'm struggling with, Anjali confessed. If I intervene, it could alter the course of history. But if I do nothing, Mumtaz will die, and her legacy, her love story with Shah Jahan will be marred by tragedy. Kamal sighed, running a hand through his hair. This is insane, Anjali, but if you're correct and talking to Mumtaz, we need to approach this carefully. We need to understand the historical context, the implications of any actions you take. Anjali nodded, feeling a glimmer of hope. Yes, we need to research to find out what really happened. There must be a way to prevent the assassination without changing history. Over the next few days, Anjali and Kamal delved into their research, poring over ancient texts, diaries, and historical records. Anjali continued her dual existence as researcher and handmaiden to the Mumtaz, the Empress. By gathering information from the past, Kamal was able to search for corroborating evidence in the present. One evening, as they sat surrounded by books and manuscripts, Kamal looked up at Anjali, his expression thoughtful. You know, Anjali, obviously you're experiencing time travel. There must be a reason. Maybe you're meant to save Mumtaz. Maybe this is your destiny. Anjali's eyes welled up with tears. But at what cost, Kamal? What if I make things worse? Kamal reached out, taking her hand in his. We can't know for sure, but we can do our best to understand the implications and make an informed decision. You have a chance to do something extraordinary, to save a life, to protect a legacy. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. Anjali squeezed his hand, feeling a surge of gratitude. Thank you, Kamal. Your support means everything to me. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, casting its gentle light over the world, Anjali felt a renewed sense of purpose. She would continue to seek out the truth, to navigate the delicate balance between past and present. She would honor the grace and strength of Mumtaz Mahal, and with Kamal by her side, she would face whatever challenges lay ahead. Chapter 6. The Ancient Texts. Anjali sat cross-legged on the floor of the small library, ancient manuscripts spread out around her. The dim light of the oil lamps cast flickering shadows on the walls, making the delicate calligraphy dance on the yellowed parchment. Her heart raced with anticipation as she carefully turned the fragile pages, her eyes scanning the intricate script for clues. Kamal knelt beside her, his expression one of focused determination. They had spent countless hours here, piecing together fragments of history in the hope of finding a way to prevent the looming assassination. The discovery of these ancient texts had been a breakthrough, validating Anjali's incredible experiences and offering insights into the conspiracy. Look at this, Anjali, Kamal said, pointing to a passage in one of the manuscripts. It mentions a faction within the court that opposed Shah Jahan's rule. They believed that destabilizing his reign would allow them to seize power. Anjali leaned closer, her fingers tracing the elegant Persian script. The hidden hand, she read aloud, her voice filled with awe. They operated in the shadows, manipulating events to their advantage. This is it, Kamal. This is the key to understanding the conspiracy. Kamal nodded, his eyes reflecting a mixture of excitement and concern. We need to gather more information, Anjali. We have to find out who these conspirators are and how they plan to execute their plan. Anjali's resolve hardened. We must be careful. If they suspect that we know, it could put us all in danger. As they delved deeper into the texts, they discovered references to key figures within the court, individuals who were secretly aligned with the hidden hand. Anjali's mind raced as she connected the dots, her determination to protect Mumtaz and Shah Jahan growing stronger with each revelation. Later that evening, Anjali found herself standing in a secluded courtyard, the cool night air filled with the scent of blooming jasmine. She looked up at the moon, its silvery light bathing the Taj Mahal in an ethereal glow. Her thoughts were consumed by the weight of her mission, the delicate balance between preserving history and preventing tragedy. Anjali, Kamal's voice broke through her reverie. He approached her, his footsteps silent on the marble floor. We need to be cautious. If we're discovered... I know, Kamal, Anjali replied, her voice barely above a whisper. But we have to act. Mumtaz and Shah Jahan's lives depend on it. Kamal's eyes softened with understanding. You've grown so close to them, haven't you? It's like you're living in two worlds. Anjali nodded, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon. Mumtaz is more than just a historical figure to me now. She's a friend, a guide. I can't let her die, Kamal. I won't. Kamal placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We'll find a way, Anjali, together. In the days that followed, Anjali began to navigate the intricate web of the Mughal court, her senses heightened by the ever-present danger. She moved through the opulent halls and lush gardens, her eyes and ears attuned to every detail. She sought out allies, individuals she believed she could trust, and subtly gathered information. One afternoon, while walking in the garden, she found herself in the presence of Mumtaz Mahal. The Empress's beauty was breathtaking, her every movement a testament to her grace and poise. Anjali's heart ached with the knowledge of the danger that lurked in the shadows. Your Majesty, Anjali began, her voice steady despite the turmoil within her. There are whispers of unrest, of those who seek to harm you. Mumtaz's eyes darkened with concern. I know your heart is pure, Anjali, but your behavior at the feast was embarrassing for my guests. I have an explanation, Anjali offered. 2 men used my loyalty against me. They voiced their plans so I could hear, knowing I would act to intercept the poison. After I called for the guards, they confused the guests. However, did you notice how the tall man had a physician ready to test for poison? I was set up. Mumtaz smiled and said, Yes, things got out of hand. I also saw the confusion. Can you forgive me? Begged Anjali, bowing deeply. Of course, said Mumtaz, touching her shoulder. You have always been perceptive, Anjali. Now tell me what you know. Anjali hesitated, choosing her words carefully. There are those within the court who plot against you and Shah Jahan. I fear their intentions are dire. Mumtaz reached out, taking Anjali's hand in hers. Your worries are not misplaced. We must tread carefully. Anjali nodded, feeling a surge of determination. We will find a way, Your Majesty. We will protect you. As the sun set over the Taj Mahal, Anjali knew she was no longer just a visitor from another time. She was a protector, a guardian of a legacy that transcended the ages. Chapter 7, Ripples Through Time. Anjali had successfully brought Kamal back in time to help solve the mystery. She sat at a low, carved wooden table in her quarters, poring over a collection of manuscripts. The room was filled with the scent of sandalwood and the soft glow of oil lamps, casting a warm light on the some nearly new and some rather ancient. She was deep in thought, her mind racing with the revelations they had uncovered about the hidden hand and their plot against Mumtaz Mahal. The door creaked open and Kamal slipped inside, carrying a bundle of scrolls. He placed them on the table and took a seat opposite Anjali, his expression serious. Anjali, you need to see this, Kamal said, unrolling one of the scrolls with care. The records written here are changing. Anjali's eyes widened as she examined the scrolls. The text, which had been clear and unambiguous, now contained subtle alterations. Names that had been unfamiliar to her before now sparked recognition, and details of events seemed to shift before her eyes. This is incredible, Kamal, Anjali whispered, her voice filled with awe. My actions are affecting what will become history. It's real. Kamal nodded, his brow furrowed in concentration. We have to be very careful, Anjali. Every step you take, every decision you make, it's all altering history. But we have to keep going. We need to find out more about the conspiracy and how to stop it. Anjali took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. I know, Kamal. I can't let Mumtaz down. She's counting on me. As they continued their research, Anjali faced numerous obstacles. The Mughal court was a labyrinth of intrigue and deception, and gaining the trust of those within it was no easy task. Anjali found herself constantly on guard, her senses heightened as she navigated the dangerous waters of court politics. One afternoon, as they sat in the garden discussing their next steps, Kamal leaned in closer, his voice barely above a whisper. Anjali, There are people who are starting to notice your actions. They're asking questions. Anjali nodded, her eyes scanning the garden for any sign of eavesdroppers. I know. I can feel the eyes on me. But we can't stop now. We're so close to uncovering the truth. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a courtier. His demeanor was suspicious as he approached. Lady Anjali, a moment of your time, please. Anjali rose gracefully, masking her apprehension with a polite smile. Of course. How can I assist you? The courtier's eyes flickered with curiosity. There are rumors, my lady, that you have been spending an unusual amount of time in the archives. May I ask why? His mind raced, searching for a plausible explanation. I have always been fascinated by the archives hold many secrets, and I am eager to learn from them. Surely there is no harm in that. The courtier studied her for a moment before nodding slowly. Indeed, but be mindful, Lady Anjali. Not all secrets are meant to be uncovered. As he walked away, Anjali felt a shiver run down her spine. She turned to Kamal, her voice trembling. We're being watched. We have to be more careful. Kamal placed a reassuring hand on her arm. We'll find a way, Anjali. We have to, for Mumtaz. Their investigation led them deeper into the heart of the conspiracy. They discovered coded messages hidden within the archives, revealing the identities of the key conspirators and their plans. Each revelation brought them closer to the truth, but also increased the danger they faced. One night, as they worked late into the evening, Kamal paused, his face illuminated by the flickering candlelight. Anjali, do you ever think about what this means for our own time, the changes we're making? Anjali looked up from the manuscript she was studying, her eyes reflecting a mixture of determination and uncertainty. I do, Kamal. I think about it constantly, but I believe that saving Mumtaz, protecting her legacy, is worth the risk. Her story, her love for Shah Jahan, it's too important to let it be destroyed by treachery. Kamal nodded, his expression resolute. Then we continue, no matter what. As the first light of dawn began to filter through the windows, casting a soft glow over the room, Anjali felt a renewed sense of purpose. She knew they were on the right path. Chapter 8. The Danger is Real. Anjali sat in a secluded corner of the palace library, the flickering candle casting shadows on the ancient texts before her. Her heart pounded as she deciphered the final pieces of the puzzle, revealing the identities of the conspirators. The hidden hand, a faction within the court, had meticulously planned the assassination of Mumtaz Mahal. The plan was set to be executed imminently. Kamal, I've found it, she whispered urgently, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and determination. Kamal, who had been poring over another manuscript nearby, hurried to her side. What is it, Anjali? What did you find? Anjali pointed to the decoded text, her finger tracing the damning words. They plan to poison Mumtaz at the feast tomorrow night. Mirza Baig and Rafiq Khan, they're behind this. We have to act now. Kamal's face paled as he absorbed the gravity of the situation. This is serious, Anjali. If they succeed... They won't succeed, Anjali interrupted, her voice firm and resolute. We won't let them. They spent the rest of the night formulating a plan, their whispers blending with the rustling of parchment and the crackling of the candle flame. Anjali's mind raced with possibilities, each one fraught with danger. Her connection to Mumtaz had deepened over the past weeks, and the thought of losing her filled Anjali with dread. As dawn approached, they decided to confront Mumtaz and warn her of the imminent danger. They knew her trust and cooperation would be crucial in thwarting the assassination plot. But Anjali, will she believe you? You called for the guards before, but there was no danger to her. We talked that event through. Mumtaz has great insight into people's behavior, and the two conspirators were poor actors. So she knew that you were set up? Anjali smiled and continued. Yes, in fact, that night served to confirm my loyalty to Mumtaz. Later that day, Anjali walked through the lush gardens of the Taj Mahal, the air fragrant with roses. Mumtaz Mahal stood by a fountain, her sari flowing gracefully in the breeze, her face serene yet tinged with quiet strength. Your Majesty, Anjali began, her voice steady but urgent, I need to speak with you. It's a matter of great importance. Mumtaz turned to her, eyes filled with concern. What troubles you, Anjali?
Anjali took a deep breath, her heart pounding. There is a plot to poison you at the feast tomorrow night. Mirza Beg and Rafiq Khan are behind it. We must act to prevent it.
Mumtaz's expression remained calm, though a flicker of fear crossed her eyes. Are you certain of this? Yes, Your Majesty, Anjali replied with conviction. Kamal and I have uncovered the details. We must take precautions. Mumtaz nodded, her gaze steady and unwavering. Thank you, Anjali. Your loyalty means more to me than you can imagine. We will do what must be done. The hours that followed were a whirlwind of preparations. Mumtaz and Anjali, with Kamal's assistance, devised a plan to expose the conspirators at the feast. Anjali's mind was a whirlwind of emotions, the weight of her duty pressing heavily on her shoulders. Her bond with Mumtaz had grown into deep respect and affection, and she knew she would do anything to protect the Empress. As the night of the feast arrived, the palace was ablaze with lights, the air filled with the sounds of music and laughter. Anjali moved through the crowd, her senses heightened, her eyes scanning for any sign of danger. Mumtaz, ever the gracious hostess, greeted her guests with a serene smile, her poise masking the tension beneath the surface. Anjali's heart raced as she spotted Mirza Baig and Rafiq Khan, their expressions tense and furtive. She exchanged a brief, meaningful glance with Kamal, who nodded in silent agreement. As the conspirators made their move, Anjali stepped forward, her voice ringing out with authority. Stop! Do not drink that wine, Your Majesty, she cried, cutting through the noise of the feast. All eyes turned to her, the room falling silent. Mumtaz, her expression composed, set down her goblet and looked directly at Mirza Beg and Rafiq Khan. Anjali, explain yourself. These men, Anjali said, pointing at the conspirators, have plotted to poison you. The wine is tainted. Guards, seize them. And Rafiq Khan leaped to his feet and shouted, Don't believe this woman. Rafiq Khan moved quickly for an exit as he shouted, She's a foreigner. She called for the guards before. Chaos erupted as the guards closed in on Mirza Beg, and Rafiq Khan crawled under a table. Additional guards entered the great hall and moved to apprehend the conspirators. Mirza Beg and Rafiq Khan struggled, their faces contorted with anger and fear. Anjali felt a surge of relief as they were dragged away, their plot foiled. After the guests were calmed and the feast continued, Mumtaz approached Anjali, her eyes filled with gratitude. You have saved my life, Anjali. Your bravery will not be forgotten. Anjali felt a profound sense of accomplishment, knowing she had fulfilled her duty to protect the Empress. As the night drew to a close, she stood by Mumtaz's side, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Chapter 9: The Farewell. The air in the palace was filled with a sense of relief and celebration. The conspiracy had been thwarted, and the court was alive with gratitude and admiration for Anjali's bravery. But as the festivities continued, Anjali felt a growing ache in her heart. Her time in this world was drawing to a close, and the thought of leaving Mumtaz Mahal and the life she had come to cherish filled her with sorrow. She found herself wandering the moonlit gardens of the Taj Mahal, the same gardens where she had shared so many moments with Mumtaz. The night air was fragrant with jasmine, and the silver light of the moon cast an ethereal glow over the marble pathways. Her thoughts were a tangled web of emotions, torn between the past and the present. Anjali, Kamal's voice called softly from behind her. She turned to see him approaching, his face reflecting the same conflict she felt within. Kamal, I don't know what to do, she admitted, her voice trembling. I feel so connected here, yet I know I belong in my own time. Kamal nodded, his eyes filled with understanding. I know, Anjali. This place, these people, they've become a part of you. But your journey isn't over. You have to return to the modern world and ensure that their legacy is preserved. Anjali sighed, looking up at the moonlit dome of the Taj Mahal. I know you're right, but it's so hard to leave. Before Kamal could respond, they heard the soft rustle of silk and turned to see Mumtaz Mahal approaching. Her presence was serene, her eyes reflecting the wisdom and grace that had endeared her to Anjali. Anjali, Kamal, Mumtaz greeted them with a gentle smile. I have been looking for you. Anjali bowed her head, her emotions threatening to overwhelm her. Your Majesty, I cannot stay much longer. I don't know how to say goodbye. Mumtaz stepped closer, her eyes warm and understanding. You have given me a great gift, Anjali. Your bravery has saved my life and ensured the future of this empire. For that, I am eternally grateful. She reached into the folds of her sari and produced a small, intricately designed pendant. It shimmered in the moonlight, the delicate patterns reflecting the artistry of the Mughal era. This is for you, Mumtaz said, placing the pendant in Anjali's hand. A token of our bond and a reminder that no matter where you are, a part of you will always be here. Anjali's eyes filled with tears as she accepted the pendant. Thank you, Your Majesty. I will treasure this always. Mumtaz's gaze softened. And remember, Anjali, the love and courage you have shown here will guide you in your own time. You have a destiny to fulfill, and you must honor it. Anjali nodded, the weight of Mumtaz's words settling in her heart. She knew that she had to return to the present, to continue her work and ensure that the history she had witnessed was preserved with the truth and honor it deserved. As the night wore on, Anjali and Kamal prepared for the journey back. They stood at the edge of the garden, the pendant glowing softly in Anjali's hand. The air was thick with the fragrance of roses and the promise of a new dawn. Are you ready? Kamal asked gently. Anjali took a deep breath, her heart aching with both sorrow and hope. Yes, Kamal, I'm ready. With one last look at the Taj Mahal, its marble splendor bathed in moonlight, Anjali felt a surge of resolve. She was carrying with her the memories of an extraordinary time, the wisdom of an empress, and the strength of a bond that transcended centuries. As they stepped through the portal that would return them to the present, Anjali held the pendant close to her heart. The connection she felt with Mumtaz, with the past, would never fade. It would guide her, inspire her, and remind her of the timeless legacy of love and courage that she had been privileged to witness and protect. Chapter 10. A World Transformed. Anjali blinked as the world around her shimmered and shifted, the familiar marble of the Taj Mahal dissolving into a blur of colors and light. The scent of jasmine and roses faded, replaced by the complex smells of modern air. When the world settled again, she found herself standing in a place both familiar and utterly transformed. She was back in the present, but the surroundings were vastly different from the world she had just left. The Taj Mahal stood before her, its majestic dome and minarets unchanged, but the bustling activity around it spoke of a new era. The gardens were filled with people from all walks of life, some in traditional Mughal attire, others in modern clothes. The air buzzed with conversations in various languages, blending the past and present into a vibrant tapestry. Kamal stood beside her, his eyes wide with amazement. Anjali, look at this place. It's incredible. Anjali nodded, her heart pounding with a mix of awe and confusion. The wonder of the Mughal Empire. It's as if it never fell. This loving tribute to Mumtaz Mahal has advanced the people into a modern nation, still rich in its heritage. They walked through the gardens, taking in the changes. The once isolated palace grounds were now a cultural hub, with art galleries, museums, and research centers dedicated to preserving and celebrating Mughal history. The air was filled with the sounds of traditional music mixed with contemporary beats, creating a harmonious blend of old and new. As they approached the main entrance, Anjali noticed a plaque bearing a familiar symbol, the pendant Mumtaz had given her. She reached for it instinctively, only to find it missing. Her heart sank as she realized that her evidence of her historical existence had been erased. Kamal, look at this, she said, pointing to the plaque. It's the symbol from the pendant, but there's no mention of us. Kamal examined the plaque, his brow furrowing. It's as if we were never here. But look closer, Anjali. There are subtle hints. I see phrases and motifs that we discovered in our research. Anjali's eyes widened as she saw the intricate patterns and coded messages woven into the fabric of the modern world. Our work, it's hidden in plain sight. We may not be remembered, but our influence is still here. Kamal nodded, his expression thoughtful. It's like a whisper of the past, echoing through time. Our names may be forgotten, but the legacy we helped protect endures. They continued to explore the transformed Taj Mahal, each step revealing more about the world that had emerged from their actions. The blend of cultures, the preservation of history, and the advancements in technology all spoke of a society that had embraced its past while forging a bright future. As they walked, Anjali felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The connection she had felt with Mumtaz and the Mughal era had transcended time, leaving an indelible mark on the world. Kamal turned to her, his eyes filled with pride. Anjali smiled, a tear slipping down her cheek. "It's beautiful, Kamal." As the sun set over the Taj Mahal, casting a golden glow over the marble, Anjali felt a sense of peace wash over her. She had honored the legacy of Mumtaz Mahal, and in doing so had helped shape a future where the past was cherished and celebrated. Their journey had come to a fulfilling end. Anjali's heart swelled with gratitude and hope, ready to embrace whatever the future held, knowing that the spirit of the past would always guide her. Chapter 12. The Enduring Legacy. The air was filled with the delicate scent of blooming flowers as Anjali and Kamal walked through the transformed gardens of the Taj Mahal. The grand monument stood tall, its marble gleaming in the soft glow of the setting sun. The world buzzed with life, a blend of the ancient and the modern, but there was a bittersweet undertone to their stroll. Anjali's heart was heavy yet content, emotions swirling within her. She had saved Mumtaz Mahal and ensured the continuation of a legacy, but her contributions had faded into the ether of time. She glanced at Kamal, his face reflecting a similar mix of pride and melancholy. "Kamal, do you ever feel lost, like we're shadows in this new world?" Anjali's voice was soft, almost fragile. Kamal looked at her, his eyes filled with empathy. "I do, Anjali. It's strange to see the world change so dramatically and know that our small actions continue to rewrite the history books." Anjali sighed, her gaze drifting to the majestic dome of the Taj Mahal. "Maybe that's the true essence of our journey, to know that we had pure intentions that spawned helpful actions and love made a difference. The legacy we protected is what truly matters." Kamal nodded, his expression thoughtful. "You're right. The Taj Mahal stands as a testament to enduring love and the power of individual actions." They walked in silence for a while, each step a meditation on their journey. The gardens, once a secluded retreat for royalty, were now a place where people from all walks of life came to marvel at the beauty of the past and the promise of the future. "Look at this place, Anjali," Kamal said, his voice filled with awe. "It's a living, breathing symbol of everything we worked for. The preservation of history, the blending of cultures, the celebration of love and art." Anjali smiled, a tear slipping down her cheek. "It's more than I ever dreamed possible. And though our personal legacy remains silent, the spirit of what we did lives on in every brick, every flower, every smile." They paused by a reflecting pool, the water mirroring the splendor of the Taj Mahal. Anjali took a deep breath, feeling a sense of closure wash over her. She had fulfilled her mission, and though the world had changed in ways she could never have predicted, it was a change for the better. "Kamal, we are part of something greater," she said, her voice steady and filled with conviction. "Our actions have woven a tapestry of history that will inspire generations to come." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the world, Anjali felt a profound sense of peace. She looked at the Taj Mahal, its silhouette a symbol of enduring beauty and strength, its walls whispering the tales of love, sacrifice, and the power of individual actions that shaped history. She had found solace in the knowledge that she and Kamal had lived a piece of history that transcends their existence. And as long as the Taj Mahal stood, so too would the spirit of their journey, a testament to the enduring power of love and history. With a final glance at the magnificent monument, Anjali walked forward with Kamal, embracing the future with a heart full of hope and a soul enriched by the past.